Hi there. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this PowerPoint. I'm going to run through this as quick as I can. It will be about 20 to, 15 to 20 minutes maximum. If you want to message me or have any questions, please DM me. But essentially, I want to show you how my clients lose weight and keep it off whilst finding balance and moderation with their favorite foods and the increase in body confidence due to the weight loss and specifically my client Claire. So I want to show you, if I play from the start, my client Claire, who's lost 4.5 stone whilst finding this balance and moderation with her favourite foods and is now living her happiest and most fulfilled life. Um, in terms of the body confidence side of things, this people get very caught up in, oh gosh, isn't this a superficial goal? Shouldn't I be looking for like a deep purpose with weight loss? If this is what's important to you, as it is with most women, the aesthetics, then this is what we need to go for. It's going to keep you motivated. And also that body confidence you get from losing weight is going to transcend to all areas of your life. So for instance, with Claire, she was able to change her job and change her life because she backed herself. She had the confidence in her, not only her body, but in her ability to do something and follow it through. So it really does transcend everything. And it's really important to be aware of that because that's going to hugely help your motivation. I'm going to cover um, motivational tools that are going to help you. This isn't about me selling my product or saying how brilliant I am, but showing you also how the things I use with Clay you can apply to your day-to-day life straight away. So, who am I and why should you care? So, I'm Katie, and I was told I was overweight by a pediatrician at 10 years old. So, he told me that I needed to lose 10 pounds. I went on to lose 2 stone. From here, my journey of fad diets, yo yo dieting, horrendous body confidence, and issues with mental health, and an equally horrendous relationship with food began. I dieted repeatedly through my teens and into my early 20s, at one point even struggling with eating disorders. Okay, so it got pretty serious. I was stuck in a shitty job. I was miserable. I was restricting food heavily in the week, only to go nuts on food and wine at the weekend, which I'm sure a lot of you will relate to. I could never achieve my goal, and my weight was creeping up actually continually, and my metabolism was completely shot because of all the fad diets I'd done. One day I decided that enough was enough, and it was as simple as that. And I decided not only to educate myself on how to lose weight properly, but also to get my mindset and mental health sorted. So I'd already done a medical science degree at uni. So I got that at the University of Leeds. So I was ahead with the science aspects. I was very confident with that side of things, but I did 3 more nutrition qualifications, and did also, from a personal point of view, tons of therapy, CBT, and mindset work. I then had to get brave. So once I'd all qualified with that, my only option really was to go self-employed, which I did. I quit my full-time accountancy job with 2 clients to my name. And that was almost 8 years ago. And well, actually, I think it's 8 years pretty much to the day. Um, and it was the best decision I've ever made. So since then, I've helped over 800 women lose weight and keep it off and change their lives. And today I'm going to tell you how to do the same. And as I said, implement strategies from today that mean that you are going to be able to take a lot from this call, and get going, really. So, move to the next slide. So, my mission is to enable women to lose weight and keep it off, improve your relationship with food and yourself, reduce your stress levels, and put yourself first. More apologies for the typo there. Crucially, finding food freedom. This is all about balance and moderation, right? So, when you've got that balance and moderation, you're able to find that food freedom. And as I say, get that body confidence you deserve and live and the life you're happiest and most fulfilling um, with. It's really, really important that, as I said, we're getting that body confidence because it's going to give you confidence in other areas and gives you that power. So this is Claire. So Claire was a teacher when she started. I say she is a teacher. She's not anymore. She hated her job. She had a really poor work-life balance, as I'm sure a lot of teachers out there know that it's not that kind of 9 to 3 work day that people assume it is. It's a lot of late nights and very early mornings. She, as a result, absolutely hated her job. She was an emotional eater. In part because of that, there was a lot going on, but it certainly didn't help. She'd also dieted for as long as she could remember. She had tried every fad diet under the sun, and her idea with dieting was that she had to be continued hungry all the time. That was the only way it would work, and that's what she did. Most recently for her wedding, that she'd restrict 1,200 calories, cutting out carbs, etc. That was what dieting represented to her. Um, and because it was miserable and unsustainable, she just piled all the weight back on. All right. So she was continually doing this cycle of diet being really hard, her losing a bit of weight, and then giving up because it was so difficult. It's really important you acknowledge that this isn't your fault. It's not your fault that you failed these diets. It's the diet's fault, but we need to learn to change. So things that should have made me happy, such as going out in the evening or going on holiday, made me even more miserable and overwhelmed me. So she was really missing out on the joys of life, things that you should enjoy, just she got no joy from. She's lost 4.5 stone, so 28.6 kilos. And she says, my anxiety and depression disappeared. I started socializing more, and my relationship with my husband improved as I didn't hate myself so much. I am confident. I'm the most confident I have ever been in my entire life. So, how do we create this transformation? So, the reason I'm showing you this is that this is the steps that, yes, I do with my clients, as I said, but you can also, as I've said, also, you can action them yourselves today without a coach. So, step one is my full mind body audit. What's audit? This is based on the first problem that women that are trying and failing to lose weight have, which is that you're not putting yourself first and your goals first enough. So, for example, you could be an out or out people pleaser, or a mum that's just so used to putting her kids first that she's the bottom of the priority list, and has lost a part of her identity and is not making time for herself. All right, she's just fallen into the habit of that. Weight loss is holistic. So please, if you're going to take anything away from this, please let it be that. It is holistic. It requires, therefore, a holistic style analysis. So, for instance, stress is huge in terms of impacting weight loss. So I audit my the daily routines of my clients, and I do this daily. And you can audit yours too. What is one thing, for example, that you can say no to this week that would free up time for you, be it your meal prep or just being able to manage your stress a little bit better, to be able to sleep better? Can you block time out in your diary so you're not in back-to-back meetings, for example? So this is something I do with a lot of my clients, is like, you know, you need to set boundaries here. So you can actually have time to eat and take breaks so that the stress isn't building up so much that you're turning to emotional eating to cope. So for instance, something I did with Claire, because if your emotions get so high, it's very difficult to come back from. So if we can get them at a point where we're really starting to feel them and take a break at that time, it acts as a fire break so that the emotion isn't building up to a point where we're using food to numb it because it feels so extreme. Are you on your phone and your laptop too late? Is this impacting your stress levels and sleep? Because I guarantee if you're doing those two things, it is, you need to learn to be disciplined with that and hold yourself accountable to that. I also asked my clients to weigh in on a Monday weekly and fill in a short questionnaire on how they're feeling. And anything they need help with, we then set it up for the week. All right. So we're looking at the past week, what they feel's gone well, what hasn't gone well, what they need help with. Um, the short questionnaire is very much based on their mindset and mental health. So again, you know, that holistic style. So, you know, has their stress been high? What do we need to do to improve that? Has it been really busy? Okay, do we need to look at plans and make things a little bit more realistic? Again, you can do this for yourself too. I would hold yourself accountable by weighing yourself weekly and setting a monthly target. Okay, so that's going to hold you accountable, but also, you know, spending like 5 to 10 minutes on a Sunday reflecting on your week and looking at what you could have done better. Right, step two, the reconstruction phase, my favorite, reset and restore. So reinstall. So this is very much based on the mindset again. So this is off the back of your second problem, which is that your relationship with food and dieting is in the floor, which by the way is the result of the diets you've done. As I said, it's the diet's fault. It's not your fault. These diets have all these weird rules, and it becomes very much embedded on us. We essentially get bad habits. You struggle with motivation, have no confidence in your ability to lose weight and stick to it again because of all these diets you've been on. You feel like you have a track record and it's something wrong with you. So we work with you to break down this detrimental mindset and reset and rewire you so you're able to find balance and moderation with foods and have a bulletproof mindset whereby you're able to not only you're able to stick to it, but also lose the weight that stays off and see it more as a lifestyle change that you value and enjoy. If you are an emotional eater like Claire, who used to binge after work, we rewire and eliminate the binge habits by identifying the root causes and managing them in a way that eliminates that emotional eating. Emotional eating is a learned response, okay? So it's where we attempt to numb ourselves or make ourselves happy. It's that essentially it releases dopamine, and dopamine is a feel-good hormone. And this is where I always say, please don't blame yourself for creating this habit. It's a highly adaptive response that your body clings to because it realizes it works. Okay. Emotional eating works. It makes us feel happier. It's reasonably cheap. It's effective and guaranteed. So this is something you should not feel shame about. This is something that, given the right environment and conditions, everyone will develop. I struggled with it for years and I had to do the work. But the issue is it doesn't deal with the underlying causes. It can massively affect our mental health because we're not dealing with the actual situation underneath it. We're just trying to numb it and put it off and trying to make ourselves better. As I said, this isn't something you should be ashamed of, but it's a responsibility to change. Okay, so we can, it's really important to acknowledge it isn't our fault, but we've got control and we need to start moving away from this because if we don't and we acknowledge we've got a problem but don't do anything about it, then it becomes our fault. Again, this is something I focus on with my clients on calls and daily messages, but I'm going to show you how to stick with it right now. So, motivation is a myth. So, a bit of a gotcha moment. The problem with motivation and willpower is that it fluctuates and is extremely temperamental. So, motivation will always decrease when we are tired, when we are in our luteal, which is our pre-period phase of our cycle, when we are ill, when we are stressed or have a lot going on in our lives. So, AKA things that happen every month, even across a week. So, studies also show that willpower decreases as the day goes on. So, why are we relying on something that is so fundamentally unreliable? Why are so many people waiting to even start until they feel motivated when motivation, as I said, is essentially gone one day, here one day and gone the next? It just makes no sense. So it really is just a buzzword. Yes, motivation can be very much key in getting someone started as a catalyst, but we cannot rely on it for the rest of our journey. This is further compounded by the fact that the vast majority of us were bombarded by social media, from general media from a young age, telling us to be thin and that being thin was the only way to be beautiful. So growing up, we thought we needed and should be this level of thinness, a certain weight, a certain size, rather than focus on what we truly wanted. I know in my case, I used to read Heat magazine, listen to E Channel, and it was all about size 4 and size 6, and I was not a size 4 and a size 6, and that's what I felt I needed to be pretty and successful and happy. We cannot underestimate that, although as we grow up, we know logically that's not the right way to go about things. Subconsciously, on a level, it's going to be still there. So all this means combined that you need to change your mindset and switch gears to something else. Alignment with your true goals and values. So this is something I did with Claire on our first call and something we constantly revisited on our time together. So it's all about shifting your mindset and setting goals that are important to you. So why do we want to do this? I'll start with the top one instead. What is your number one weight loss goal right now? What's the first thing that comes to mind if you're super honest? And by the way, do spend 10 to 15 minutes doing this. Pause this video once you've listened to everything I've said. Please please, please, please do this. Put your phone on airplane mode if you can, but make sure you're not getting any distractions. Actually, airplane mode won't work, but put it on work mode so you're not having any distractions. Why do you want this? Is it to feel better on holiday or an event? Is it to feel more comfortable every day? Is it a t-shirt and jeans? So many people say that, by the way. To feel better in certain clothes? Is it about running after your kids? Does it feel like a black cloud that's following you around? Why not stay where you are? Is it a should? Are you happy where you are? Because if you are and you're doing it because someone's telling you to do it, they can piss off. You need to do what's important to you. So if you feel actually happy where you are, stop watching this video now. Go and enjoy your life and stop letting it be dictated by what other people think you should do. However, if that's not the case, it's something you truly want, keep watching. Is it something you're not willing to accept any longer? Is how you feel about yourself affecting your happiness? What does it affect you? How does it affect you every day? Are you missing out on anything because of how you feel about yourself? And leading on to this, what does losing weight give you? Does it give you confidence at work? Does it give you more mindfulness? Does it keep you in the moment because you're not worrying about how you're feeling? Does it enable you to enjoy those fulfilling moments with your family or friends or children? Are you more happier and more comfortable at events, meals, and nights out? Does it improve your fertility levels, your chances of starting a family? So your task, as I said, please pause this once I've given you all your instructions. Write down your weight loss goals. Write down what they are according to the structure I've given you. There should be no shoulds or BMI. And as I said, please do not put a weight because figures are typically very non-emotional and they're based on a should and often are picked out of the sky. Okay. In order to stay on track, we need exciting emotive goals. Use prompts above to help. Please pause this now and go through it. So back on to my steps that I use with my clients and things that you can implement today. So step 3, the time and lifestyle management reports. So typically, I don't have enough time is the typical excuse a lot of people will use. And I do appreciate often this isn't an excuse, right? We're time strapped, but this is an excuse because it's a way to stop you from being able to move on to your goals. And yes, look, this does overlap with step 1 because it might be a case of not putting yourself first enough and you're not thinking more holistically. So, do be aware that these do cross over. And this, again, can't stress enough how important it is that you reflect on that. But, as I said, there are legitimate concerns around time, be it a busy job, social life, kids, juggling it all. You don't have time to get dedicated to the weight loss process. All right. So you go online, these influencers that are in their 20s, have no kids, have no job, they're able to do it, right? But they don't have your life. So it becomes really difficult. So as I said, be a teacher. Claire found it hard, those early mornings, and then working until late after school. Yes, with my clients, I set them up for the week, discuss plans and barriers for the week, hold them accountable to planning and food shops, and look at weekend plans and even menus and alcohol choices. But this is also something you can do yourself. As I said, on a Sunday, set yourself up for the week. Take an honest look at the week. Look at it honestly and critically. Shop once a week is really important because it lowers the threshold for temptation. You know exactly what you're doing, and you need to plan your meals. This doesn't mean meal prepping all your meals, by the way, but knowing what you're having. It's so much easier to make a good decision when you're tired and stressed. It becomes so much harder when you haven't planned. You are just going to go for the sugary options, and your willpower, as I said, is going to be in the floor. As I said, willpower does decrease as the day goes on, so it is a bit of a perfect storm. Are my evening meals quick enough? And also, don't be afraid of sandwiches. Don't be afraid of grab and go options. I'd much rather you have them than not eat at all or end up, on Deliveroo, eating something that isn't going to work from, a weight loss point of view. Look at food menus ahead of time. It's so much easier to make a good decision when you do that. And it's a little bit like anything in life. If you plan for something, it's much easier and you're going to be much more successful. So again, a bit of homework for you. Pick a day this week and please commit to it that you're going to stick to every week that is convenient for you, for instance, Sunday, to look at your week as a whole and look at it critically and think, okay, do I need quick options? Look at my foods options, look at my menus, etc. So slide 10. Step 4, we're almost there. The upgraded figure plan. So this is based on your fourth problem, which is that you're confused about what you need to do. So, for instance, you look on social media, you've tried every diet on the sun, you've had influencers telling you what you should and shouldn't do. It's all conflicting, it's all confusing. And the harder, I always say, the harder you try, the more confusing it gets. You need a solid education. And yes, obviously, I educate my clients on the nutritional science so that they fully understand what they're doing. Obviously based on my science background and the qualifications I have. So that they understand exactly what they're doing and they are confident applying it to any situation. My aim is always to make myself redundant with every client. But there's also things you can do for yourself too. So another bit of homework. So auditing your Instagram. So get rid of influencers, look at who actually has got the qualifications, look at their websites, look at their posts. If they are clearly just someone that is here to make a quick buck, that isn't open about their qualifications, get rid. All right, we need to be really pretty aggressive with this. Get away from the fad diets, move to calorie counting. You can work out how many calories you need to lose weight, aka a calorie deficit, by literally going on Google. All right, so you don't need a nutritionist to do that for you. There are loads of calorie deficit calculators. Okay, so this is something you could easily start again today. Consume content from those you trust and are qualified. Ask them questions. I don't have a problem with anyone asking me questions. I'd much rather that they feel equipped. And I know that people that are worth their salt really don't mind. And obviously inquire about coaching if you're ready to make that investment. But keep asking those questions. But again, this is your responsibility to really set boundaries with regards to who you follow and who you're consuming from. Okay. Yes, it's not your fault that you've got yourself into this situation, but it's your responsibility now you're aware of that to change. So thank you for watching. I hope this has given you a greater understanding on how much a holistic and mindset based practice of losing weight like Clare has used is, and I hope that that's given you some clarity with regards to what you need to do and the priorities you need to be making in order to lose weight. Let me know how you get on with the homework, the mindset exercise and the weekly audit, and obviously auditing your Instagram. If you want to hear more about my coaching, you can DM me, or you can apply for a no obligations consultation call, no sales, no hard sales. I literally can't do it. It will literally be a chat about what you're struggling with and my program, and us both working out whether it's a good fit. It might not be, but at least you have clarity on that. And I also will give you some bonus mindset work. So at least if you think, okay, this isn't for me, you come off the call feeling really motivated and you've got clarity on what your plan is going forward. So any questions, please let me know. With regards to the consultation call, again, just message me with regards to that, and look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, no worries if you don't. If this is just all about you getting more value, I'm pleased that you have, and have a great day.